Well, get a COVID-19 shot and enjoy a free beer, one of the vaccine sweeteners that was announced today.
Beer and a shot.
There you go.
I know it will. President Biden and business enticing Americans with inoculation incentives. As you heard by now, the president wants 70% or more of U.S. adults with at least one dose of the shot by the 4th of July. According to the CDC tonight, nearly 297 million vaccines have been administered here in the U.S. 41% of Americans are now fully vaccinated, while just over half have received at least one dose. NewsNation's Adrian Banker live in the newsroom tonight. And Adrian, looks like the president still needs roughly 16 million more adults in the country to get the shot in the next month to reach his big holiday goal.
Well, there are a lot of numbers in this story, Rob. Marnie, good evening to you. We're seeing a steady increase in people getting their first shot, but some parts of the country are seeing more vaccinations than others. President Biden spoke today on his ambitious goal of getting more adults their first or their second dose in roughly 30 days.
America is getting vaccinated, but the numbers vary state to state. Among the top 10, New England has everyone beat. Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island with about half the population fully vaccinated. Hawaii, California, and Colorado are all over the 40% mark. But in places like Wyoming, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana, less than a third of the population is fully vaccinated. It's the same in Arkansas, where tens of thousands of doses of the vaccine are set to expire before the end of the month due to fewer people getting the shot. No surprise to doctors.
The hesitancy that we've seen are the vaccines in general. The demand for vaccination has peaked.
The president applauding efforts to increase inoculation with the aim of having 70% of U.S. adults receiving their dose by Independence Day.
52% of adults are now fully vaccinated, including 75% of all seniors. 28 states and the District of Columbia have achieved 50% of adults being fully vaccinated in their jurisdictions. And it's clearer than ever. The more people we get vaccinated, the more success we're going to have.
We spoke to Dr. Amesh Adalja, a senior scholar at Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. He says that those statistics mean we've already hit a major milestone.
The goal of the vaccination campaign was not to get to COVID-0. That's not possible. It was to remove the ability of the virus to cause serious disease, hospitalization, and death. On getting vaccine into the highest risk individuals, those above 65. And we know that people above 65 have about 75% of them are fully vaccinated. And that's why hospital capacity is no longer a concern.
Still, campaigns to get people vaccinated have been creative, to say the least. Ohio giving away $1 million tonight and a college scholarship. Grocery chain Kroger giving away $5 million in cash prizes and free groceries. Anheuser-Busch is giving away free beer until July 4th for anyone who gets vaccinated. And in West Virginia, they're giving away free guns, including custom hunting rifles. While Americans might have their eyes on the prize, health experts are looking ahead to the fall.
So over the summer, right now, we're not going to see a lot of differences among states in terms of, COVID and high vaccination versus low vaccination, because the transmission is going to be low everywhere. In the fall, I do expect to see differences in transmission between high vaccination states and low vaccination states.
Now, one of the health experts we spoke to, Dr. Adalja, he referenced countries like Israel, where there was a big decline in cases when just 40% of the population was fully vaccinated. He also said that states with vaccinations that are set to expire, those vaccine doses, should give them to states in need, or he said give them to Canada or other countries before throwing them in the trash. Marnie?